But I knew a guy who, I mean, there's some people who just blows your mind. Like, they just make like a pattern of like, okay, so I have 12 bills to pay this week. They're not going to be that mad at me. So I'll pay this one. And then I'm gonna get a new car. I'm like, with what money? He's like, what do you make? $400 a year?
What's more?
Yeah,
That's
you want a Lexus?
Yeah, for sure.
It's
all going to China anyway. Do we even have the gold standard anymore? I don't even know what the standard is.
Allegedly, I don't know. We have the Chinese standard.
I think we have like the Chase standard, the Wells Fargo standard. Yeah. We had the let me hold something for a couple of days standard.
yeah.
Mike. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap Podcast.
Yes, sir. Hey, we are right back again, season 2 of the Real Rap Podcast. My very first guest out the gate, Harry Jensen. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm Stuart Little, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good, man.
Harry Tooley.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, I appreciate you coming in for to be on the first episode of the second season, man. Why don't you tell the fine folks your name, how long you been in the city, how long you been in comedy, what you got going on?
My name is Harry Vajayjay. I'm an No, I've been.
Hi, Harry.
Hi, Mike. I've been in the city for about a year. I do stand up like Mike.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move into his extra bedroom. I don't even know if he has
we just
one.
worked that out.
Yeah, he's aggressive about it. But I do stand up. I produce a show called Sketch Up that Mike was on.
Fantastic show.
Recently. Had that at Zany's. I'm also going out with Megan Fox soon. That's coming soon. Sorry, Machine Gun Kelly. But yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Get her a
it's
thumb
pleasure.
operation, man. I heard they're like unsightly.
That's you were just shitting on people making fun of Donald Trump's hands, and you're like, Megan Fox's thumbs, gross.
That's why it's a no for me.
yeah, it's a tiny thumb down. Yeah.
You said you've only been in the city for a year. Where are you coming from?
I was in Minneapolis for about a year, and before that, I was in Portland for 5 years. And I am from Minneapolis. I was doing a little hopping back, came back to Minnesota because of pandemic things. I had to sell my dad's house, and then me and my buddy from college, also a comedian, decided to come down here, give it a go.
Yeah.
And it's been good so far.
I mean, producing a show at Zany's isn't something to sneeze at, man.
No, it's
It's a concept show. You got like sketches / comedy.
Yeah.
Had some music playing. Had some big names up there. You know.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. So the
wardrobe changes.
Wardrobe changes. Mike said I looked like an unemployable magician, which is true. I got no tricks except tricking Zany's booking into letting me have a show.
That's one of the cool things about the city is that there's a lot of venues. Like you don't have to get pigeonholed in any particular one venue. But what's some of the ups and downs you've run into producing a show like that, especially working with mixed talent?
Let's see. I would definitely say, like, being the producer and booker, Zany's is the first time I didn't lose money. So I mean that's a challenge. And also, I think the most unnerving part is I'm like new to the city, right? So I don't know a lot of people, but I still have this like schizophrenia that I can fill a room.
Sure.
You know? So when you're like putting on a show and like people are trickling in and then like the trickle stops. Reagan wasn't right. Trickle down economics doesn't work. Sorry, Ronald. But I think that's sort of challenging because then you really realize like how many people you know, because I think for the first for every show I ask everyone I know who I've ever met who I know lives in Chicago or a similar country. You know?
Oh yeah.
I was asking. I have a friend in Ethiopia. I was like, come on, bro, you can stay with me. We need asses in the seat. Come on. Like, it's just one. That
friends and family button.
Flight.
I've talked about it before. You get to push the friends and family button twice. One's for an early show and one's for the big show. After that, if you're not making it.
No, yeah, I know. And I don't have any family here, and I have a few okay friends. So it's interesting because I'll be like, who else can I ask? I'm like, I started asking women on the street.
Yeah.
Which, if you got goggles on, then they can't mace you. I'm just like, it's just a show.
Yeah,
it's just a show. It's going to be funny.
Yeah. I'm a magician.
Yeah, I met there were these girls talking French outside of the L line, and I was like, I was just thinking about the show. It's like, I need people to come to the show. And I speak a little bit French. I was like, you guys French? And they're like, no, we are Belgian. I'm like, right on. I'm walking this way too. And I'm like, do you guys like comedy? And it sounds like the beginning of like some fucked up like horror movie, right?
Well, that's exactly the premise for Hostile.
Like, how about a joke?
For Hostel, what is it? Hostel? Yeah, that was the premise for.
Oh, really? Is it?
Had to have. Yeah, a foreign guy walks with 2 other foreigners and says, "Hey, you want to come into this building?"
Oh, wait, Taken. They do that too. Yeah.
Any American-made foreign movie.
Yeah,
that's the premise.
Yeah, handsome man of vague brownness. I know he's hot, but. The other thing.
Are you French? No, Belgian. Exactly what I meant.
Bag over the head right away. So, I mean, how did you decide to come to Chicago yourself? You've been here 10 years?
I did. Yeah, I did. I'm
only 11, so that's a long time.
Yeah, I did comedy for a year in Omaha, Nebraska, and then came out here and did 1 set at Jokes and Notes, and it went well. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I can just move to Chicago and then make it within 90 days.
Yeah.
That's my path. So I just moved out, and I had a friend. Shout out, Nikki. I had a friend. She let me live with her for 4 months, like rent-free, and just got increasingly annoyed at that dude sleeping on the couch with no job. So I just had to figure it out.
No job, no pants.
No, nothing. Yeah, just sitting there unshaven. Like, that was before Manscaped. So I'm just sitting there hanging
Manscaped.
looking for sponsors. Yeah. So, and then I've just been working it out since then, man. But
so it was how really, like, seriously did you think you were going to be like making money in 90 days?
So or especially that first year, I was horrendous. Like not a structured joke in sight, right? It was all just being sold off of piss and vinegar, and just trying to be charming on stage. But it worked time to time here
Republicans
to there.
Are gay, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We hate Trump together as a collective group in here, right? But then after that, it was like meh. So then I started stumbling around. I was like, oh, this actually takes a little bit of work, huh? Oh, all right.
Because 7,000 other guys who,
Yeah, because it doesn't take long to become a black belt in a smaller town, right? At something, and people just look at you like, oh. And so if you're the nicest dude playing ball in your high school, and then you go to a Division I, college basketball, you're probably gonna drop back down to the bottom of the list.
Right.
And so that's kind of what happened when I moved out here, where it's for sure. Home, you know what I mean? It's the home.
Yeah.
Any name you could think of.
I had that when I was in Portland because I started doing stand when I was 18. I went to college out there, and we just had a comedy club at school. That's just what the group was called, but it was like independent show. And like 80 people would usually come, maybe 100, and it was like in this chapel, which in retrospect was like a horrible place because like the ceilings were like 500 feet.
I thought you were pointing at the big man upstairs, like he just didn't like my
because Eddie got smited. Sorry, big man. Yeah, just lightning, like Zeus coming down. But that was like the first place I did stand up, and then I started running that club, and like. So my first experience, like, hosting, doing stand-up, and producing, and 80 people would always come because I had this, like, community and that it was, like, built in, you know what I mean? And I, was one of the only people who was, like, really, like, going for it. So I was like, holy shit, man, I'm the best. Which everyone, you got to have a little bit of that, like, to keep on, to bomb and not, like, go to the news store and make a purchase.
Yeah. Is there anything worse than a comedian getting on stage and going, I'm not very good at this, guys?
I think the worst is, like, we talked about it a little bit before recording is that, and then when it's not going well, just not acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Because it's either like, either you don't know it's not going well, or you're so scared to acknowledge that it is.
That
it's going poorly, and I'm like, I'm just worried for you,
Oh,
You're going out into the night alone
out.
after this. Like, are you a danger to yourself or others?
Like, let the steam out, bro.
Yeah,
Like, just take me off the hook, because I see it.
The other night, I was just bombing my ass off at Lincoln Lodge. Shout out Lincoln Lodge, great place.
Lincoln Lodge.
Let me just sketch up there.
Best place to bomb in Chicago.
Best place to bomb in a comedic sense.
No, the other. The McCormick Center is the best non-comedic place to bomb.
But the only laugh I got during my bomb was like, because I was just bombing my ass off. I was like, all right, I got a gun at home. And then everyone laughed at that. And I was like, hey, it's just fine. Because it's just watching a guy bomb. And then it's sort of like you get, you like accelerate like the force of your bomb, like you're like a snowball like rolling downhill. You start talking faster. And then by the end, you're just like a Looney Tune character. You're like, my mom, like she's gay. Why don't you just go? You just no time to pause.
Because I've been there and then seeing it, I feel double shame is when that person's up there and they're just bombing and they're searching for that one laugh to get out of. And then they might even get like a 5.5 or 6, and you're like, oh, please bow out right now. And they're like, no, I can ride this wave. I can bring this home, people. I'm gonna work it up to a 9 and then stick the landing. No. That was as good as it's gonna get.
Do you have I love open mics just because you see things. You hear people say things that you didn't think anyone would ever write down or
Absolutely.
think. I won't even say where I was because I don't want to include their name with this, but I was at a mic and there was like a fair amount of people in the room. And then this guy ended with I think it was one of his first times doing stand-up. He ended with, I'm jealous of rapists because they can get any girl they want. I'm like, that's not quite a joke. That's evidence for a future trial. I'm like,
time plus future tragedy. Tragedy equals comedy.
And I tried to do a consent joke to get everyone to come back in the room, but that didn't work.
No. You can't buy them back.
Yeah, you can't undo that one with.
I actually was hosting and I lost the crowd, so I have like a quick in and out that'll usually tip the crowd off, like, all right, hey, we're living on the edge here. And I lost the crowd at a hosting gig I had, I think like 2 weeks ago, and it's a shitty joke, but it's I'm like, I've been a lot of places, and this is by far the best room I've ever seen to slip something in a woman's drink.
Oh, that's great.
And, I assure the audience that, I didn't invent roofies. I'm just making an observation, right?
I just bought them. Yeah. I didn't make them. I just sell them.
Mickeys, by the way, were invented in Chicago.
They were?
Yeah, the guy that slip a Mickey.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Some dude. I think his name was Mickey. He used to work in the district that like where Chinatown is now. And he just came up with this concoction of slipping something in a drink.
He was
you wake up butt naked in the alley with all your stuff missing.
Yeah.
And then his name was Mickey something, and they just coined. Bing.
Yeah.
You should have trademarked it.
Dude, that is not a great thing to patent in your name.
Oh God, no. But here's the double pressure is that that's pretty much early in the set. I'm just opening up the floodgates, like, all right, hey, hey, I got you, comics. I'm opening every door. Walk through all of them.
Yeah.
And the crowd was just like, And I was like, oh. All right, guys.
You can do anything.
Fall back.
They don't feel safe with me, so they're going to be so happy to see you coming.
I'm going to pretend I'm mugging them. You come up, punch me in the face, and you save the day.
Yeah, and then we'll Mickey them. Yeah.
There's an art. Yeah, the longer you do it, there's an art to bombing where you actually just stop. It doesn't affect you as much.
Yeah.
I would think. You know what I mean?
Well, for me, I think it's better when, because I've like tried to get into like the Portland and the Chicago scenes, like bombing when you're just getting to a new town, you don't have any friends, like doesn't feel great because you're like, it feels like you're auditioning socially.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But if you bomb and like you're with some people or they've seen your act and you've seen them before and you're all bombing, you're like, okay, this room is just a black hole of energy right now.
I still have people to this day that I've known for like 3, 4, 5, 7 years that have only seen the sets that I don't do good in.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you know to come tonight?
Yeah.
Out of any other
I
night.
smell fear. Yeah.
Like, and I think we ended up, we didn't meet, we met a while ago, but we ended up seeing each other at a Netflix special, a taping for a Netflix special.
That's correct. Yeah.
Which was amazing to see, like a little peek behind the curtain on something of that level, right?
Yeah.
What did you pick up from that night?
Or
those nights, because it was several nights.
It was 3 nights, 7 shows.
And you were on the crew as well, right?
I was on the crew. Shout out to James Webb for.
Shout out to James Webb. He makes a hell of a fine telescope.
He does.
Mean, peeking through space and time is amazing. I think the battery is like 20 years on this. So
yeah, so
infrared
shout out
scans, you can see through space.
He was going to hire me for another Netflix special before I said I liked his space pictures. So sorry, James. But I mean, yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, it was interesting because James has just sort of built everything out of necessity, and like by that I mean he doesn't like. He wasn't like hired as an industry guy and then was told what to do.
Ground up that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Everything he just figured out he needed. So I was just taking notes on the special just to make sure. Like when you're filming it, like 45 hours of film because we did 7 nights or 7 hours and 6 cameras. So my job was to take notes and make it easier in the post-production process so that James doesn't have to watch 45 hours of like the same shit.
Yeah.
Especially since the headliner, the guy we were recording, like does. Like he's such a pro, he does the same thing every time.
Yeah, but his crowd work was phenomenal.
The crowd work was different every time, and yeah, he was. I don't think he's announced that he's got a Netflix special yet. But
I don't think so either.
But this guy is incredible. But it was great to be a part of. I mean, I'm not super adept with the tech stuff like Big Joe and others.
So we're talking about James Webb, literally the reason that camera is on us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because he came in and did an episode with Calvin Evans, right? And then after that, him and James and my engineer had a bromance. Next thing I know, I come in here and there's like $8,000 worth of new equipment. And I asked Big Joe, like, man, you got that kind of money? He was like, don't ask no questions. I said, all right, fine. We just got new shit here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that dude, and then
James roofied Big Joe and gave him a bunch of stuff. It was a reverse Mickey.
Like a backwards Christmas. It was,
yeah.
The Mickey of Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
But
hey,
I mean,
that's my movie idea. You can't have that.
it goes across so many platforms. But for James to be in the trajectory that he's on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's in this show business, right? There's very few, not even show business, right? For anybody that's on a path, an ascension, there's a lot. It's very easy for ego to just step in and make a really ugly monster, which I'm sure he has a healthy ego. You have to be leading in whatever industry you're in, right?
Oh yeah, some of the speeches he makes are like from war movies. Like we're in Band of Brothers. He's like, we're storming not the Capitol, but like that's the only political thing I care about.
I can definitely see a scenario playing out where James has to murder somebody with the group of people that he has.
Yeah.
And he'll get away with it just because that's how much passion he has in what he does.
Yeah, he'll eat the body to get rid of the
evidence.
Yeah, he's committed.
He's only going to eat the heart, and he's going to make everybody else on the crew eat the rest.
Yeah, he's going to eat the heart of the #1 video producer in New York. He's just going to battle him.
But for him to still be like so down to earth, because there's some people that's they're producing a twice monthly show in the Chuckle Hut. Out in the middle of fucking Peoria, and it's like, where's your ego coming from?
Yeah,
you know
there are. There's people hosting open mics who feel like kingmakers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I think to get anywhere, like we said in this, like James definitely like believes in himself, which he's not like
Yeah.
this is stupid. I guess I could like he believes in himself, but he is like he's very. What I appreciate about him is he's very willing to involve other people and also tell them if they're useful.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't sure like how much he would need my notes, but he said they saved him a lot of time, like as a script supervisor, and like sometimes you work with a director or something who like doesn't have a lot of time for the crew, or doesn't have feedback unless something needs to change. So James is he's a very good guy, and holy shit, I'm stapling my tongue to his coattails. I'm just trying to ride that rocket.
That was an odd choice of what to staple to his coattails. But
Yeah. That's why I need him because whenever I hang out with new people, I talk about attaching body parts to clothes. So
it's just there's so many.
he's like, oh yeah, Harry was nice. He said he's gonna put his dick in Bill Burr's pocket. I'm not really sure. But he seems like a good kid.
Just so he doesn't leave me hanging.
Have you ever done any production, like produced any shows?
I did.
Take a gander at that.
I did one show that went horrendously.
That sounds awesome.
It was
Was it outside or something, or?
It was at the Chicago Actors Theater, which, by the way, fantastic venue. I love the place. I ended up doing a spot there for somebody else that was producing the show, and then he liked me. He was like, "Hey, you mind hosting?" So I hosted, like a few more shows, a couple of 2, 3, 4 shows, and then after that, I was like, "Man, I really like this venue. I need to produce a show, right?"
Yeah.
And I ended up producing along with somebody else, and it just putting asses in seats. I gave, first and foremost, from inception to show date, 3 weeks is what I gave myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
From, hey, I want to produce a show.
To here's the show.
To here's the show, 3 weeks. And then, and I knew really basically nothing. So it ended up being like, I pushed the friends and family button. So, and I don't have family out here. So it was just friends and acquaintances button. So there was
just Nikki. Come
on,
Nikki.
It was 11 people in the crowd. And I think maybe like 6, 7, 8. Way too many comics showed up to show support in my darkest hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. You're like, please go, guys. Let me burn alone.
Yeah. And I pushed my comic buddies button. So like Calvin showed up. Like
really?
Goods there, you know what I mean? And forgive me, other comics that were there. I purposely blocked this night out so tough that I've kind of blocked out whoever else was on there.
Brought to you by Manscaped and Mickey's.
Oh
Mickey,
my
you're
God. Anthony Fuentes was there.
I love Anthony.
That's three legit local headliners right there that showed up for $20 and a favor. And 11 people. Oh, it turns my stomach just thinking about it right now.
How was talking to them afterwards? Like, were you aware that it didn't go well? Did they lie to you? Or
you know when you just suck the side of your mouth. Hey, that's You give some fortune cookie like the cookie crumbles. And,
no, when you leap, you
win some,
live.
You lose. It's all swings and roundabouts.
You win some, dim some. Yeah.
What goes up?
Here, take this. I'll forget everything.
So it was just one of those nights, and I was like, you know what? That probably isn't gonna be my vessel because it takes so much, man. My hats off to any producer producing anything.
Mm-hmm. I know it's a lot. I mean, I want to do SketchUp again, but it's just like the anxiety of getting people in the seats because I know enough people. Like I know the acts are good and the comedy show's a good show, but
your opener. Thank you very much for coming.
That's Zach Reynolds, aka Hans Vons. But yeah, like my first, it was funny. Like my first show, the first SketchUp I did, I'd only been here for 5 or 6 months, so I hadn't really met anybody besides like some comedians. And we were at this place, Facility Theater, and we had like 20 or 30 chairs out, and I'm like, let's put the rest of the chairs out. I'm expecting like 60 to 70, and that's what I told the comics too. And So then enough people came just to fill the chairs that were already there. So basically, what I did is last minute I made the room look really empty by putting a lot of chairs. So yeah,
You
so
took it from an intimate show to a disappointment.
Yeah, to everyone's upset. And I didn't know shit. Like, I got a friend of mine who I met, like, through a celebrity. I met at Zany's to, like, make a post about the show. And I was like, she's got, like, 10,000 Instagram followers. And she's a cute guitar lady. People will come. 0 people came from... That's how much I was gambling or, like, betting on one's Instagram story. Yeah. And then I wrote this whole like sort of like experimental piece. The experiment was how bad can I do stand up, and that's supposed to be a joke, but it wasn't that funny. But I did 52 minutes.
It's hitting me hard.
Yeah. His Mike just shit his pants. You can't see it. He's trying to hold it cool. But yeah,
That's an interesting point of view, right? Because I run into the same thing. So, I mean, I book people that I'm building a relationship with, already have an established relationship with, or have something going on that I'm like, I'd like to tap into that. I'm curious to see what see what a conversation about that's going to be. And then some of these people that I'll have on here will have legitimate followings, right?
Right.
And for the most part, just about everybody that's been on here that does have a following will actually promote it. And what I've noticed is their followers are their followers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm buying into you, what you're doing. That's cool that you went over and did that thing with the other person.
Yeah.
But don't ask too much for me. You know what I mean?
That's because
can I get a ride? It's not about to turn into let me borrow your car.
Yeah. Give me the keys. You can make an extra set.
Hey, thanks for dropping me off here. Would you mind getting out? I have to go do something else.
Just get a sippy cup and fill it with gas. Like, come on, man, I need this. Yeah, I know. That's what I realized. What I realized later, I'm like, okay, well, there's 10,000 people watching this, beautiful lady play guitar. It doesn't mean they're like, and I get to go to a stand-up show from someone I've never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
For $7.
Yeah. Why would you think that Joe Biden's son being a raging crackhead isn't getting more publicity outside of the comedy scene?
Can you give me the down low on this right now, on this hard transition?
I wanted to keep you off balance.
Yeah.
So
he's been scratching his hand the whole time, just waiting to bring it up.
Now, and this is I do the most minimal research possible because I like looking just like a pure jackass.
Hunter Biden?
Hunter, I believe. Which one of them passed away. I did read his book. I did read his book. Pop, I'm sorry, or Dad, I'm sorry, whatever the name of it was. But anyway, one of them passed away. And then the one that's still around, Bo. It's either Bo or Hunter.
I think Bo died and Hunter's around.
Okay, right. And so, best of my knowledge, Hunter took his laptop to go get service. He had like 2-3 laptops to go get serviced at a regular computer fix my thing. What you call, right? And he left it there.
And then a CD-shaped brick of crack came out of the drive.
A compact disc.
Yeah. A crack disc. Yeah.
That's how it gets imported from parts unknown.
Yeah. Hey, this doesn't look like Ratatouille at all.
Hey, what's this album? It's
Why
cracking.
is this Blu-ray so white and ashy? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So there was a clause with the computer company that was signed that's like, hey, if no payment and you leave it here after like 90 days or something like that, then
we're telling
the computer shop, we're telling them to get the Secret Service.
Yeah, okay.
Then the laptop is ownership of the computer company. And so like 90 days passed, he never came to pick up his laptop, so the computer guy owned it. And he had, he had access to everything because he's supposed to be working on it. So we gave him the passwords. So after 90 days, supposedly he waited that long. He started looking through it, and oh boy! So he found who?
What is he emailing people for crack? Like what?
He's videotaping himself recording a rock hard white substance in the room with a woman in scantily clad clothing who seems to be very into him.
What is he, a mayor? Political.
Ooh.
Political.
I mean, he is very political.
Yeah.
I don't know if he held any positions or anything like that. But I mean, if you're
this come
past the
out?
president, I think it's kind of been like a murmur for a while. But right now, it's starting to get like a fever pitch. That's what's weird, is that you don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. That is weird. I mean, but you know what? I guess I'm just so not surprised to hear that the guy who becomes the president, that his kids are like, they struggle with like addiction and
Are
shit
you
like
not?
that.
Now look, I'll do you two phases.
Okay.
If Barack Obama's daughters, either one of them, had videotape of them doing crack. Now I won't even stop there.
Mm-hmm.
If any of Donald Trump's kids were on video doing crack, there would be no way to not talk. We would be annoyed about talking about this right now.
Do you remember when it might have been at Lolla, but there was that video of Malia smoking a blunt? Like a few years ago, everyone went crazy.
Hitting a legal joint at Lollapalooza.
At a festival. She's not in an alley with a strange.
And I think
pipe.
it was after he was done being president.
Yeah. I think she was like, I don't know, 20 something like.
Yeah, he wasn't even president anymore.
Yeah,
She's a grown adult in a state where it's legal.
Yeah. That's a good point, because that was like a media frenzy, and
he is a sitting president.
And his son's doing.
And his last surviving son is doing. And I want to say back in late 80s, early 90s, he's on, Joe Biden's on tape. It had to have been back in Reaganomics. He's on tape during the war on drugs going, you
like
should
that
get.
You did a sniff right there.
You should, yeah, I had to work it out. But he's on tape saying, for every gram, you should get 10 years of prison time for every gram of rock cocaine that you had.
If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1, we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've gone from there all the way up to saying, under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself as well, and others, the presiding officer, that there is now a death penalty. And we passed it a couple years ago. If you are a major drug dealer involved in the trafficking of drugs and murder results in your activities, you go to death.
Jesus Christ.
He's on tape. He's on video. He's videoed saying this.
Yeah.
And then this is being conveniently. You don't know about it.
That's it. Yeah, I know. I don't know about it, dude. That's a pretty good point, because he was.
Which I don't blame you for not knowing about it, but we should be so. I know that I haven't even watched the video, and I know Will Smith apologized to Chris Rock. I couldn't
that's
not
so
know about it.
I watched that yesterday.
See, you know
so
about
embarrassing.
that.
Yeah. Well, we're not. Okay, you know what? If I was smoking crack, I think I would be catching up on Hunter Biden. I'd be like, because I'm a comedian, so I watched the Will Smith thing. But yeah, I don't. That's a good point. I mean, I'm sure that there are like little internet communities, like people on the right, conservative communities that I'm not as tapped into, that are talking about it. Because do you remember, like, people were talking about Hunter Biden for a minute, like when Joe was getting elected, all that stuff with, God, what country was it? Was it Belarus? Like, he was doing some. Oh, this is so needs to be Politico fact checked.
I'm tracking. Yeah, no.
Do you remember there was
everything's
that scandal?
alleged? If you just say there's all alleged, then we can say whatever the fuck we want.
Alleged. I have a 12-foot cock, so that's alleged. But do you remember that? It was he was part of like an energy board or the board of a gas company. Hunter Biden was in one of the former Soviet satellites, and Joe Biden like threatened to withdraw $1 billion of aid.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was one of like the big press points, like in the election, like when Joe and Donnie were going at it. So it's interesting that it's not making it into the news now. Maybe Fox News is having a heyday with it, but
or it's
I
not
haven't
even
heard
it's
about
not
it.
even about it making it into the news, right? It should be permeating
The conversation.
Yeah,
yeah.
like I said, it should be annoying at this point that everybody's talking. Because really, that's the premise for 80% of the jokes that came out of '90s comedy is a president being hooked on crack and giving away all the secrets. For free or whatever to Russia.
Yeah,
Like that,
yeah.
you could go back and watch 3 specials from the '90s, and it's gonna be in 2 of them.
Yeah, and then 1 out of every 2, like Chappelle's show skits. Yeah, yeah. That's true. Especially, well, I don't know. Maybe people haven't picked up on like the hypocrisy that you pointed out, because that didn't occur to me immediately, that Joe Biden had like a really rigorous stance on crack cocaine. And is it weird to say crack cocaine, or is that something like people
I think
said
it's
30
weird
years ago?
that crack is funny to talk about, but meth is sad to talk about. When clearly meth heads are way funnier than crackheads.
Yeah, crack. Yeah. Oh my God, my friend used to live in this. It was called the paper house. The whole house was insulated with paper, which is just horrifying. And asbestos. It was one of the last asbestos places. But
that's how he was keeping the asbestos out, with paper.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fortified.
It's fortified. The former occupant of her room, had been like this couple who had a baby and a lot of meth. So they did the thing where like they break up they always have great art projects.
Oh yeah,
you know, that's what I love about people who do meth.
Typically very clean houses.
Yeah, typically but it's very clean. And then what they do is they
one
take
section of the house is clean. The
take
bathroom
apart
is immaculate.
Yeah, the bathroom is ungodly. But they'll take apart the toaster and then glue every part to the wall and be like, "This is Hunter doing crack." You know, this is what it is.
This is my interpretation.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, because people do like to make fun of, like, opiates aren't supposed to be funny either.
No. I mean, but how many people at any given time are just on like prescriptions, which is the same thing? I mean, isn't the Xan basically just heroin?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the same family. I think it is a similar neurochemical effect, or they're in the same family.
I disagree that everybody's on something.
I think so. I just bite you. I'm on PCP.
Oh,
I'm hungry.
that's PCP Jensen.
Yeah. Stuart, PCP Little.
Wet Harry.
Please don't get the nickname Wet Harry started in Chicago.
It's too late.
We do.
Stamp certified.
And now, Wet Harry VJJ.
Do you? I haven't. So I actually just heard it because I stopped off at the liquor store. Let's turn this around since they haven't agreed to sponsor yet. But I stopped at the liquor store.
I was gonna say,
I stopped at the liquor store to pick this up right before I got here. And I actually got the breaking news in there that somebody hit the lottery. And it was somebody in Illinois.
Really?
I don't know if it's somebody from the city. And I think it was up to like over $1 billion. So you cash
$1 billion?
It was over $1 billion, like 1 point something. So the
find
cash
that
out
guy.
is gonna be like half a ticket.
Do you do scratch offs or lottery or anything?
I can't. Well, I do, but I don't. So I don't buy like the scratch off the lottery tickets. My new bug, what I got caught back into doing, is stupid sports cards, which is the exact. Same thing.
Yeah. No, I know I would have a gambling problem if I got it.
Yeah.
Thank God I have no knowledge of sports at all.
Yeah,
because my friends get better jobs just so they can lose more money. Gambling on the NBA. But I've never done like the lottery. I'll do the scratch offs like with friends sometimes. But I smoke like a pack a day. So if I started getting into gambling in the same way, I would be
hard decisions.
Yeah, I would be seriously trying to. I'd be like, "Can I sleep here, Big Joe?"
What I don't like and I don't trust is that feeling that I'm gonna I'm gonna win. You know that feeling if you happen to have a tremendous set and you're like, if the right person saw that, hello Hollywood.
Yeah.
You buy a ticket with some random numbers on there. You completely know the math.
Yeah,
is not in your favor.
I watched Kyle Kinane's new special, and he had a great joke at the beginning, which was, I think that people who play the lottery should be more scared of lightning.
Yeah.
Like, why do you just believe in the good luck part of it?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And what was that?
Like, every plane I've been on has landed successfully. Why would I win the lottery?
Yeah, exactly. It's both negative and positive.
I don't even want that much of a good luck thing to happen, because that's kind of what my question was going to be. Is it impossible for that to work out in somebody's favor? That you just get a windfall of life-altering money? Like, you've been in Chicago for a year. You started producing a show. What has that done to the relationships of people just regular open mic comics, knowing that you had a show that was at Zany's, or knowing, whoever might have saw you at that Netflix taping?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Olivia Carter asked to borrow my phone charger the other night, so I'm climbing the ranks.
Absolutely,
I'm climbing the ranks.
She's so entitled.
This is the anti-Olivia Carter podcast.
She's been on the show. I'll never have her again.
She's got the same notebook as me, but with better jokes. I don't know. She
had a strong set. By the way, shout out Olivia. She had a strong set
great.
at the sketch.
She is great. Well, I don't know if I'd want to win the lottery though, because I get very. I'm like socially paranoid. I worry about where I am, like who likes me and things like that. I'm perpetually 12. And if I won the lottery, I hear all these stories about how hard it is because people want things from you.
Of course, immediately.
Right? I wish people wanted more things from me from SketchUp, but
we're working into. Ideally, that's the goal: is to work into a livable income based off of comedy, and then understanding that it's quote unquote show business. So you're gonna have those people that are looking at you like for somebody that's not doing it, they see you producing a show at Zany's and they're like, oh my god, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But did you just get it out of nowhere? It's like, ooh, what does that do to your brain?
I don't know, because I know one person, not very well, but there's a person in my neighborhood who won a small lottery of I don't know, a few million.
Okay.
Which is, not small to us certainly, but they sold their business and quit their job, and I don't know. I what would you do if you won the lottery as someone who wants to be a comic?
The worst thing that I would do?
Yeah.
The most
just buy a house full of Mickeys. Just a trunk. Just a handful.
And give them out and just leave
every bad set you just start
just buy
Hunter, come on, you can have some.
Just buy an oil tanker full of chloroform.
Yeah. Just dump
you
it
have
in
a
the
bad
Columbia
set,
River.
just knock the comic out.
Yeah, knock the whole town out. It'll be like that first Batman movie when they released the crazy gas. That'll be you. No one can remember.
I think probably the evilest thing, the worst thing that I would do, if I ended up hitting them, if I'm 500 mil, right? Probably the worst thing I would do is see how many times I could say no to somebody.
In what way? In what way?
Just like, hey, Mike, $10,000.
I thought you were gonna say buy a lady. That'd be so funny. Someone's like, "Can you
buy your house and all the land that surrounds it?" And be like, "Oh, you got a tough decision."
Someone asks you for $8. You're like,
"I'm trying to."
Shit's tight right now.
There's no way to have pure thoughts with unearned money. You have to cultivate. You have to cultivate. First, it's probably just going to accentuate whoever you are truly in your heart, right?
Yeah.
So if you're already a piece of cow manure, And you're gonna be the absolute. You're gonna be the worst, right?
Yeah.
But let's just start off and say you're an even kill kind of person, 60% in the light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get that, it's still gonna fuck your head up, bro.
Yeah.
To just get it out of nowhere. First, it's not gonna feel real.
Yeah.
And so that'll probably be the one window of opportunity you have in that dreamscape honeymoon period of this is too good to be true, and somebody's watching.
Well, because it's not someone like Elon Musk who wins. It's a guy who works at Shell. You know, it's just some guy, and then like I have $1 billion. Like it's 400,000 houses. I don't know.
I feel like Elon Musk's dad owned like a diamond mine or something like that, and he's about to go to prison for banging out like some.
Dude, he just
11-year-old or something crazy.
He just had a kid with his former stepdaughter.
So
like he raised her, and then he had a kid with her later. Like
so he generally came from means, and then he's overabundance of means, right? And he seems like a pretty cool guy. He went on Joe Rogan and fake smoked marijuana, right? And then now, look, he's not even exempt from evil. He just said, hey, I'm going to buy Twitter. And everybody's like, oh, raise the stock prices. Blah, blah, blah. Ooh. Man,
never mind. I was sort of wooed by his coolness for a little, his supposed coolness for a little while, but he's just a maniac like any of them.
Yeah.
You know, just a complete maniac. He's
egomaniacal.
You know, he's like pollinating like his cum around his staff, you know, another coworker's having a kid and shit like that. But yeah, do you think you would be a worse person if you won the lottery? Like do you think it would inflame like your shitty aspects?
I wonder, so I mean I still have authority in my life, right? I still have like my mom, my pop in my life. If I ended up got the money, and somehow that tricked my brain into going, you're just Carl and Cecilia, instead of like mom and pop, I'd be in deep shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if I still recognize like somebody like that's authority or whatever on something, then there would still be access to be like, Mike, you kind of bugging out right now. You know?
Yeah.
But I couldn't speak to say how much does that consume you if everything and then plus here's what's really crazy I think is that 500 million grand scheme that's a humongous amount of money to us. To the top 1%,
maybe not to Big Joe, but to me certainly.
I mean, why do you think they call him Big Joe? The B is for billions. So in the grand scheme of things,
Instagram Joe. Yeah.
Billions and grams. He's a mover out here.
He's got lots of compact discs.
Blu-rays, 8-tracks. But when you so now you got 500 million. Now you're on the 1% radar, right? And you're a brand new 500 millionaire, and you just walked in the room with, I'm fifth generations of knowing how to work with money. I don't think that money sticks around for too long. To be honest, because everybody's like, oh, you want to know how to make your 3x?
Give me 100 million and I'll
give me 100 million and watch what happens. And it'll just literally be the same games that they play Southside Chicago to trick somebody out their money on some pretendo or fake weed. It's just gonna be in the big leagues.
Yeah.
I mean, human nature doesn't really change. It's just whatever culture you're in, whatever your language is, or whatever tools you guys have in place, But otherwise, it's still all the same games get played everywhere else.
Well, I think about since we're in the comedy game, like I wonder if you agree with this, but I feel like if I had a windfall of that much money, I would just be able to make myself like I don't even think you'd have to be that shrewd, like a major figure in the comedy scene, and I think that might fuck me up because I think you could just become a producer and hire a team and just make a huge show, become like powerful, and then I think you could leapfrog into like a better comedy career. Like there's this guy who came to Zanies who was a financial investor, and he just started doing stand-up to make more money, and he's a weird long-haired sort of culty YouTube guy, not a comedian, but started coming to like good clubs, zany, and like doing an hour, and he just had enough money to market himself to like make a best-selling book by buying 10,000 copies himself. And so he just like skipped a bunch of steps. And I think that would be the thing that would fuck me up the most is if I did that successfully, I used my money to like leapfrog into a comedy career and then not have anything at stake anymore. Because I really, I'm hungry. I want to do better. I want to have more. I want more respect. But if I just suddenly had that because I could afford it, I think that would fuck me up.
Because you don't have a direct line to the common person anymore. If they watch you grow from open micer to, headliner, big star.
to roofier.
To the top notch.
we both know that the top of those is the same now.
There's actually quite a few of them.
yeah. There's about to be one more if this Powerball turns up.
That's why money and comics don't mix. But you would have no choice but to talk about it. You would have to make it. You would have to give us a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to get an obscene amount of money.
Yeah.
And then what's bad about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you'd have to show us that. Otherwise, nobody want to hear anything about any. Traffic. Am I right? Like you just flew here on your helicopter, you jackass. Grab your coat.
Well, that's how I feel. I mean, maybe it's because it's television, but like Larry David, like, do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Yeah. So like, still in like the new seasons, that man is worth $900 million, and still like the basic plot point, in different permutations and iterations is I don't have to tip 25%.
Yeah.
And it still works for him, and it's sort of. It works because you also know he's so rich too. It's like it's so absurd, but yeah, you do believe it. You believe it. Yeah.
You believe 1,000% that when the cameras go off, him and JB Smooth are having the exact same argument.
yeah.
Like, you don't like that? You don't like that boot over there, LD? you gotta go over there and smack that ass, LD. Like,
I bet both of them forget they're on the show sometimes. I bet they're just talking about like the ethics of.
They're on the phone right now having a conversation that could be recorded.
Have you ever listened to a JB Smoove interview? I feel like I'm having a stroke. Like, he is the funniest. I heard the story about him. He every week at SNL he would pitch the same sketch just because it was funny, and it was about a day-long cigarette. So it's just a cigarette that's 10 feet long. So every week he would pitch the same sketch. You gotta
hold it like a shotgun?
Yeah, I don't even know. It's just like this long. You just never have to stop smoking it. And they never filmed it.
Of course, you can't promote cigarette smoking anymore.
No, you can't. It's hilarious.
Holy moly, man.
But yeah, I don't know.
You good
that
over
being
there,
said,
Big Joe?
I do want $1 billion.
What happened? What did we miss? Yeah, no, monkeypox is very real. No. I mean, that's any kind of like those. I want to care, but I think I probably want to judge more than I want to care.
Judge
the people who have it.
Oh, okay. I slowly slide away. All my Rufy's comments are behind, but the monkeypox. I've heard it's fucked up. I heard like you can touch someone's clothes, touch your eye, blind.
Oh,
Seems
that and
wild.
conjunctivitis, it spreads the same way.
Yeah, exactly. I got pink eye and monkeypox, pinkpox. But
why are medieval diseases making a fucking comeback?
I don't know. I don't know why monkeys are fucking with us. I think it's mean. I don't know. COVID, monkeypox. I think it's end times, judgment. Judgment.
They've been saying that for so long.
So my dad always used to say is everyone's always thought it's going to be the end of the world.
I think that's a bit of like society's ego. Like, hey, we're going to be the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
No. We're going to be.
No, it's just going to be hot.
The Mayan calendar, bro.
Oh,
I always use when people would mention that before it happened. I always be like, do me a favor, name 2 Mayans.
Yeah. Rick? Yeah. Quasi Roofy, yeah.
Curtis? Yeah.
No, I always thought that was ungrateful, right? It's like, dude, they made a calendar that went like 700 years after we destroy, after the Eastern Europeans like came over and destroyed them. It's like, well, how far do they have to go?
Yeah.
They're like, they knew. It's like they didn't need it. They were they're just planning ahead.
I don't know. I don't like with this. They've been talking about climate change for forever long.
Mm-hmm.
What's your care level? On a scale of 1 to somebody else has to take care of it.
It depends. Oh, someone else has to take care of it, man. I'm drinking this unnamed liquor after a little out of a little plastic cup, but I try to recycle.
Whatever that means, right?
Here's what I do. Here's the real thing I do is I have a dog. I walk my dog. I don't buy plastic bags. I use trash on the street. It was way easier when I lived in the south side of Chicago, I'll say that. When I lived in Pilsen, hella trash. But it really depends on my mood. That's what I've learned. Like, if I'm really depressed, I'm like, fuck, we're all going to die. We're all done.
Yeah.
If I have a good set at an open mic, I'm like, the world's a nice place to be.
Yeah. I wanted to keep going, just like this.
That's what's your care level? Like, do you
they
think
have
about
like
it? Do you
floods
fixate?
and so my care level is they have like the floods in Kentucky right now, right? They're underwater.
Like your parents don't live on like bamboo, like houses in monsoon country, right? Like they're fine.
Yeah, my black parents don't live in the rainforest of the Congo, you asshole.
No, I'm just thinking about like Bangladesh is gonna disappear.
They don't live where the predator goes hunting. My dad's not Danny Glover, you hunk of garbage.
Thanks for being the first black person I've met.
Then again, he might be. I never met my dad. But my step-pop is definitely not Danny Glover. Or else I wouldn't be doing this horseshit with you.
All right, well, I'm leaving then. I thought I was networking.
If my name was Danny Glover Jr., my career would pew.
Mike, no, then you couldn't have the open. It'd be funny if that was your name and then you changed it so you could do.
Well, my name was actually changed.
Was it really?
Yeah. I was adopted by my step-pop when I was 14 years old, so it used to be Michael Hodge.
Michael Hodge.
Born Michael Hodge.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's Mike Knight. And I'm like, oof.
Yeah, I think Michael Hodge sounds like a fat accountant. I'm glad that you transitioned.
It definitely sounds like somebody with
a
poor diet that does arithmetic.
That guy I'm not booking just because he's going to look bad on the poster.
No. It's a plump word
Mike
to
Knight's
say.
exciting.
Yeah. It's going
Hodge.
for
Yeah.
Hodge.
Yeah, it sounds like a deli meat.
It's around. Can I get
the
a turkey Hodge with
extra mayo?
Hey, what's the Hodge of the day? Tuna melt?
Diabetes. Okay. Okay. So what's your concern level with your Danny Glover and climate change?
It is definitely like in my heart of hearts somebody else's problem. Just because I spend zero time focused on it and I wouldn't know where to begin. Right?
There's so many good people in my generation. Yeah.
I do sit down and actually think sometimes, like when I'm just chucking trash away, like. I've done this so many times.
Yeah.
Like just me.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
If I was to add it all up from then till now, the shit that I don't have anymore, that's still in existence.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil's house, I could I could pack it in.
Yeah, Bel Air. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, everybody's doing this?
I know.
Holy smokes.
There's so many people who get a Starbucks cup every day. Every day. And it's nice. It's nice to just get a thing.
And
just
check
have
it without
a thing,
thinking about
and then
it.
you just throw it away, and you're like, "Why is this trash can overflowing?"
Yeah,
you're.
I'll
mad.
get like a K-cup for like my little coffee maker, and then pour a thing of coffee. I'm like, is there like an eyelash in there? Dump it out, make another one. And I heard those things are nigh fucking recyclable.
Yeah, kick a bird,
And I feel like I watched something on YouTube that was catering to exactly what I wanted to hear. That said, like, recycling is like not everything that you think it is.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Recycling like a percentage of what you're actually putting in that stupid bin.
It's rough. One of my exes is he's like in charge of recycling for the city of New York. I'm like, are you in the Illuminati? Are you lying? Is anything really happening?
Yeah.
Because there are like plenty of cities where they don't actually have recycling facilities. Because for a while we were selling it to China. China buys everything. China's insane. China sells us all our toys and then buys them back when we throw them away. And they like burn them down, I think.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. But you can't be that worried about things like climate change or else you'll just explode.
I just have the feeling somebody else is on it.
I know. And the real question, the real philosophical question, is that hope or is that extreme foolishness?
Or is it just pure procrastination?
Yeah. As you're taking the trash out, you're like, well,
just
at least I did it.
check it. Whatever.
Yeah, someone will get it.
Yeah.
I know.
That's somebody else's job.
I'm like mad that someone hasn't already invented some kind of like robot that like eats trash and then like turns it into like sex workers or something.
Are you big on conspiracy? Because the idea in generally 90% of conspiracies is that they do have all of that. They're just not letting it out.
What would be the? I like conspiracy theories because they're well crafted and they're interesting. But what would be the logic behind like not doing that?
Is that the trash companies or whoever, Mr. White Man here is, big garbage is making too much money off of garbage. Privately owned company, this, that, and the third, and they need the plastic to put in jet fuel for chemtrails or whatever the hell.
Okay.
So they can make plastic bullets that from the grassy knoll to blow off presidents' fucking heads, and
so we can get rid of all of the bamboo houses I alluded to earlier. Yeah. Are you behind any conspiracy theories? Not behind like your Q, but do you endorse any in particular? Like you've heard lately, you're like, that could be true.
I think all of them are valid to the point of, like, the conspiracy itself is, hey, we're getting away with this shit. Don't tell nobody, all right?
Yeah.
But I don't think like, all right, let's sit down and fake the moon landing with lunch breaks and a secretary and a guy that comes in, Leonard that comes in to get the trash at night after a long day of conspiring and shit. I think, all right, boom, hey, we got to beat the Russians to the moon to prove a point. How much footage do we got of the shit we're actually doing? Not a lot. Go hire the guy that's shooting that thing and get some more footage to make it look good, just to put the pressure on. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just I think it just stumbles across that. You know what I mean? Like, but otherwise, I don't think there's big corporate America level meetings with Zoom in calls and like speaker phones and.
Well, what will we do today? Well, have you heard about Bilderberg meetings?
I feel like I've definitely heard that name.
With like the elites of the world, like like the Clintons. Those are the ones that I love watching Alex Jones clips. That does not mean, but he would talk about how like Hillary Clinton would go and they're dipping children in blood like delicious little sausages. He was obsessed with the Bilderberg meetings.
So when he's saying the Bilderberg meeting, that's just somebody's name attached to the word meeting. Right? If you work for any company, then it's gonna be the Marriott meeting,
the Jimmy John's meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's going down there.
Yeah, so it's like it's all gonna be kind of the same thing. And if some shit is going down, like it's like ooh. Whatever. I don't, and I think this is kind of on the anti-conspiracy. I think the common kind of view on it is I don't believe in people's ability to keep a secret.
I
Not
don't
that many people.
Yeah, I don't believe in an institution's ability to make everyone keep a secret. You know,
right?
I know who of my like teachers sent naked pictures to kids in the school. You know, I found out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll find out about aliens.
Everybody knew the chick that got the frozen hot dog stuck in a cooch and had to go to the hospital.
I actually don't know that girl. Is she okay?
Yeah, I think so. I don't want to say her name. I think she's still alive. But
yeah, I hope so. That's a hard way to go.
She probably got a staph infection.
Yeah.
Lost a percentage of her cooch. Nah, but I mean, like, even with like the moon landing, do you get astronauts and teach them how to be movie production level cameramen, or do you teach cameramen how to be going to space ready astronauts? You know what I mean? Like the logistics on some of that stuff.
Yeah,
just doesn't.
I think it was Adam, who's my roommate, who said. He's like, the first moon landing was fake. The rest of them are true. And I like really middle of the road conspiracy theories.
There's like a bunch of them.
Yeah. Well, I just like having that as like a median point. It's like Ronald Reagan did buy a bunch of crack to bring it to America, then he lost it. Someone's got a really like middle of the road conspiracy theory is funny to me.
So even with something like that, with like the crack epidemic, right? It'll be viewed as, okay, there was a conspiracy from the government to. Now, do I think that the government was sitting down and said, "What's this new thing? Crack? All right, we got to go get a bunch of it and then bring it to America, and we're only going to release it here." Or was there drugs already coming in, like through like this culture, that could be Italians and whatnot, and boom, it's getting brought in, and then all of a sudden it's getting brought to, because I want to say it came out as a designer drug. Free-base cocaine came out as like a designer drug. You had to have money. You're in Hollywood circles and whatnot, and cocaine wasn't cheap. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it starts making its way to impoverished neighborhoods, and it's like, oh, it's taking off because people usually in shitty situations.
Someone tries to make a cocaine muffin. They're like, this baking soda is doing something for me.
Hey, man, I've got a lot of business ideas.
Yeah.
But you start taking it to places and you see a market. You see a market opportunity. I can sell a product here and make a lot of money. Now I'm going to start doing that. Okay, and now if you're in the government and people who are making money off of this are finding ways to put money in your pocket, now you have an incentive. I don't know if I believe in conspiracies. Maybe I believe in incentives to keep money going.
I believe in the crack one, though. Like that, I think that's like pretty much like proven. I think people have testified about that, but I think what wasn't it? They needed money. Like Reagan, it was still post-Cold War shit. Like Reagan needed money to arm the anti-communist forces in Nicaragua. The Contras, yeah. And then so he started selling drugs. So he had General fly down, buy the drugs, sell them here, buy more arms for the Contras. Yeah.
Well, anybody that's buying it, that's what it's getting sold to, right? And it just and then it just. So if you're a police officer riding around in the south side of Chicago, west side of Chicago, and you see somebody with blacked out tinted windows and big ass shiny rims, you're gonna pull them over because that's just what it is. We know it, they know it. You can sit here and say whatever, but you just know that's what it's gonna be. They're gonna go fishing, and that's the fish they figure they can catch. Might be right, might be wrong, but that's just what the hell it is.
Yeah.
And if you got a drug and a neighborhood's gonna buy it up, then the market's gonna dictate where you're gonna take it to. Was somebody like manufacturing like this is specifically what we're gonna do? I don't know. That's definitely a possibility. Was that a byproduct and somebody was like, well, shit, let's push it, go over there. They're going to keep buying it. We're going to keep flooding it in. And people, you know what I mean? Like more reactive than proactive. But I'm sure there were definitely proactive elements to it as well.
It's interesting because it's the Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan, like war on drugs thing is very reminiscent of where we were a few minutes ago with the Hunter and Joe.
Yeah.
Because Joe Biden very anti-crack, and then Hunter's doing it. Nancy Reagan, I stole this banner from my high school. We had a Just Say No banner, Just Say No to Drugs. And then, Ronald Reagan is like perpetuating the cycle of I actually had that banner up to Just Say No. Like, I was like, this is funny. So when I went to college, I had it up in my dorm room. And then I was trying to, like, bring, like ladies back to my room, and it said, Just Say No. So I was like, all of a sudden, it's...
Subliminal?
all of a sudden, it seems like I'm warning you that I'm going to rape you. It's like, just say no, I'll respect it. Or if not, it's going to be scary. It's going to be... I'm Scary Jensen.
Hey, Wet Harry, you about to Mickey that one tonight?
Yeah.
I would actually, you know
Say
what?
no to Wet Harry.
Now that I think about it, I would be more inclined to think that when it comes to like the war on drugs, I would put more of a conspiracy behind weed than I would crack.
Okay.
Because they made weed a Schedule I drug as opposed to other things. Like I think soft. Like I think like powder cocaine is like a Schedule II.
They're gonna say softcore porn. I was like, that's a hell of a drug.
No, that's numero uno. That's 25 to life, especially if you're doing it a shitty way.
Pablo Escobar just with DVDs.
But I mean, you get locked up over a weed charge. There's people in jail right now locally from Chicago that got locked up on a petty weed charge.
And now it's legal.
Now it's legal, and now it's making it's the fastest growing market there is. I mean, to the point where they had to start letting some people go. But once you lock somebody up, that's a wrap. You've killed whoever that person was or had the potential to be at that moment. Effectively, you gave them a life sentence the moment you locked them up on that.
And
I would believe
if they get out, they're felons, so they can't vote. And
all kinds of shit. Even if you overturn it, it's done now. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if somebody gives you AIDS and be like, hey, sorry about that, but there's pills you could take. I don't give a fuck. Like, I got it now.
There's not enough PrEP in the world.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I got to take a pill every day now. But I would be more prone to believe something like that, which seems like innocuous and seems like, because, like, again, crack is just an ear ringer. That's brilliant marketing to say crack, because you cannot not think of it. And it goes so perfectly with head. Crackhead is it's just a beautiful term, right? But lawmakers sitting in, a prosecutor and federal prosecutors and judges and all that sitting in, giving a nod and a wink on, all right, there's a weed charge. Boom, we're going to give them X amount of time. They already have a formula figured out. Some fat accountant named Michael Hodge already has the time that they're
Michael
gonna give
Hodge,
him.
Who's eating a big fat Michael Hodge.
a
dripping Michael Hodge.
with edible turkey meat.
with his coworker Wet Harry.
Something like that. And then to now, those same people that were making money locking folks up, because they got the whole prison industrial complex. But the same people that were making money locking people up behind marijuana laws have to still now be getting their beak wet on making laws and whatnot to make money off of legal weed dispensaries.
Oh, yeah. Did you know that Louisiana, like, by far, if it was its own sovereign nation, has the highest rate of incarceration, like of any, compared to any other country? Because I think it's like something insane, like 20% of like males residing in Louisiana have like spent some time like in jail or prison. It's just wild. Are you a prison abolitionist?
Like to get rid of it altogether?
Yeah. Because I went to a really liberal school. A lot of people were. It's one of those things where I'm like, do I believe in something that I think won't happen? Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I also am politically for living forever. But,
sure. I think young white people with good intentions might be the worst thing to happen to planet Earth right now.
That's why I got bad intentions.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wet Harry. I've said
I'm Mickey and everybody and making the world a better place.
yeah.
No, but I mean, best intentions. I think. I mean, when you're growing up and you're young and you don't have anything figured out, but you think you have the answers to everything, and you have the energy to feel like you can make a difference and change the world before you really start getting into the political aspects of living for 75 plus years. It's like, oof. Because then you go in there and everybody should be called whatever they identify as, and nobody should say bad things, and all comedians should be G-rated, and no movie should have Arnold Schwarzenegger in it because he touched some girl's butt, and it's like, all right, whatever.
Did you ever know any of those like hyper activistic rich people? Do you have any of those people in your circles? Because like going to a liberal arts college, I met like people who are like millionaires and communists. You know, but you know, at that time they're 18, 19, 20, so there's no implications to them being a communist. You're like, well, I don't have any money, so I can't give it away. But as soon as dad dies, like you're fucking loaded.
Oh, of course. Well, the thing what makes it so it's funny on the outside for us because we're comics and we love poking fun at that. I mean, that's the driving force for most of comedy that's coming out right now is calling, you know, liberal babies or whatever. But what the scary part is that they actually fucking vote, which means they legitimately have the ear of the politicians who have to kind of bend the knee to a certain extent and say, all right, fine, fucking, I'll listen. Yeah, all right, we'll put pictures in your lobby so you know how many black people are staying there, even though you don't see color. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what's scary is because I think for the most part, I think I've told it on this on a previous episode like real quick when they had like when they were doing the protest over George Floyd. They were showing like a group of young kids from like Hyde Park, every color of the rainbow, all holding fucking hands and tie-dye shirts and shit like that, and they went down to like Inglewood. And they were fucking marching and fuck the police, defund them, and da 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 da. And one of the old heads from the neighborhood was like, if y'all don't get the fuck out of here, because you're just rallying up our police, and then you're going to go home to your nice little fucking dorm room that your parents are paying for. And now we're stuck with the police. You pissed off.
Yeah.
Before you went back to Candyland. The fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And ultimately in their mind, they're thinking, oh, yeah, we're doing the right thing. We're sticking up for you guys, but you're just coming in real quick.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I mentioned earlier, like I'm from Minneapolis, and like right after, like George Floyd was like from like the same like neighborhood like I lived in.
Is that the same neighborhood that they wouldn't let Dave Chappelle perform in? Bookmark that. We're coming back to it.
Yeah, we're coming back to that. Yeah. Oh, that's embarrassing, but it's an embarrassing stance to take. But like there was a while where they were talking about like abolishing the like the Minneapolis Police Department, right? Like that was it had been recommended by the county council or something like that.
Didn't they try that in like Oregon or something like that? They gave the town to the people. I'm sorry.
There was an autonomous zone that was taken. I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. And because I was in Portland during all this, and like my friends would, you know, text me about like, oh, because they know I'm from Minneapolis. They're like, wow, they're abolishing the police. Like all my liberal arts friends, like abolishing the police department. Wow, that would be really crazy. What an amazing like move to make. You know, liberty and justice for all. And then, like, if you actually like listen to people who live in like North Minneapolis, is like my mom used to live there, and I'm like from that area. And there's like, you know, like. That's where like the murders and the carjackings and everything's like happening. So like those people are saying we don't want to get rid of the police department because there's not another system, and then it's just going to be like the Wild West. Yeah. Which is sort of already what happened because like after like George Floyd and everything, like there was like the funding went down and the violence like went up just because like pandemic, people are like struggling and all that. So, like, on a national, like, ideological level, like, people are like, hell yeah, get rid of the Minneapolis Police Department. But then, like, reality, like, you're not thinking about the people who live there who are like, well, I don't want to do that. Like, there's not at all. There's no accountability besides, like, people doing what they want.
Black people in the hood are scared of the exact same things anybody else is scared of the hood of.
Yeah.
I mean, most people in the hood with guns are scared of other people with guns. Like, everybody doesn't want the same things.
My
Some
friends
people
are
just
like,
have to live those
therapists.
places.
It's like you call and there's a therapist. I'm like, what are they going to do? I know. Why don't we just calm down while you're bleeding out, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like if you're stuck somewhere else trying to make decisions, which, again, with the best intentions, and you spend 0 time there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why with because I want to say they're trying to. I think certain states are trying to make it illegal, like the hardcore states that are against that ban like abortion. I could definitely be wrong, but I want to say like Texas or some other state is making it illegal for you to leave the state and come somewhere else. Like if you leave Texas, come to Illinois to get an abortion, they can lock up like the doctor from Illinois that performs the surgery. Because I think ultimately that's what they're making illegal is the person to perform the surgery.
I think that's the whole. You've probably heard about the story with the 10-year-old from Ohio who went, I think, to Indiana to get an abortion. I think that's the whole. Like, are we going to balkanize the states where you can't leave the state to get certain procedures,
Right.
and then like make them more like their own little nations? I saw I was thinking about, and then I saw there was a plan to do it like. There's casinos on Native American, like federal, like reservations.
Meskwaki,
like,
Iowa.
Why not a Bobo clinics?
Independent, give that to the natives as well.
Yeah. Hey, this is Wet Harry's a Bobo.
Sorry.
I won the lottery, and now I'm opening 45 different abortion clinics. But you have to meet me in person.
Smallpox.
Yeah.
Smallpox clinic.
Yeah. Monkeypox a Bobo Incorporated.
Do you? I could be speaking for you. I'm definitely speaking for you. It's actually, tell you what, it's amazing to me what I care about. I believe is pretty much just dictated by whatever my phone tells me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I haven't really been getting updates on Ukraine and Russia anymore, and I just...
Yeah. I don't ask, I have a couple friends who are, like, politically tapped in to, like, geopolitical stuff.
Yeah.
And if I don't talk to them, I don't know what's going on.
I was taking a shower the other day, and I'm soaping up.
Yeah,
and
I was
like,
watching. I remember
Are those kids? Yeah. I
Wet
saw
hair,
the red light. Wet hair. We're the sticky bandits. I'm sitting there soaping up, and I was like, I wonder if those Mexican kids are still laying under those aluminum blankets. I'm like, why don't I care about this people?
Yeah.
Why is nobody covering it?
Yeah.
Why are they not talking about the president's son?
Dude, I had
being
to
on crack?
load that. I had the buffering sign. I was like, oh yeah, they're still in
They
ice camps.
definitely have to be.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember the story like, hey, we fixed that whole
You know why?
situation.
Because now we're focusing on Dave Chappelle in Minneapolis. Boom, circle back.
The segue is immaculate.
Immaculate.
So
And
what's
what do you know
going
about
on with
that
your
story?
town?
I don't know. It's a very.
I think it was Attack of the Liberals.
I think it's Attack
of the good intentioned young white people.
Minneapolis is a very, very liberal place, and I think we got a big dick now after
Fair enough.
after 2020, and then the whole world exploded.
Yeah.
So, but
I mean, I thought you guys had a big dick when Prince came out.
yeah,
When he made Lake Minnetonka famous, I was like,
hell
all right,
yeah,
that
the
place
waters
is
of Lake Minnetonka,
they're going places.
Yeah. That's us. We got Louis Anderson, Prince, some other dead guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I don't know. I mean, because everyone has their right to like do whatever. But I'm like, wow, like where we are in the world right now, like this is what you like put on your pants and made a sign for. It's like Dave Chappelle, just don't go to the show. He's not trying to burn people. And I'm also like, I'm generally like very left leaning, but I'm also a comedian. So
Sure.
I'm like, how are we protesting a show that you don't have tickets for? And like, he's not. Do you think he's inciting it? I don't know. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
I'm thinking that as much as we have the voice of standing behind jokes and saying that, freedom of speech is important and whatever we say, hey, we're trying to be funny. If it works, if it doesn't work, whatever, get off our necks. We're doing y'all a favor. That's what makes America America. Dick, pussy, shit, funk, whatever. And I think as much as we have to stand on the side of having that voice, this thing, whatever it is, those people that I'm the opposit of, they're also a thing. They're not going anywhere. They're just getting more and bigger, and people are made every day. So the energy that they're creating it just keeps getting cycled with more and more and more people.
Yeah.
I think people, the older you get, you probably phase out of. Because I mean, when I'm way older than you, so when I was growing up, like all that young people angst of I'm gonna change the world and I'm standing on this right now, even though I'm gonna change my mind 17 times before I die.
Yeah.
This is the most important thing to me right now.
Yeah.
Well, the people who are going through the first thing that they care about are the people that are most adept to having a voice on cell phones.
Interesting. Yeah.
So their first thoughts of this is important to me, and this girl that I'm with is the only. This is it. This is it. I'm 16 years old, and this is the most important girl.
16 year olds, and we're gonna abolish the Minneapolis.
Yeah,
Police
they have
Department.
no idea that in 4 months she's gonna be banging their best friend. Because that's just how life works. You know what I mean? But right now, they're the ones that have the loudest voice. They're on the newest platforms. They're the drive behind advertisement, behind politicians getting their attention for votes, for everything. So they happen to be the most important people when it comes to the cell phone generation.
Yeah.
Is the youngest people with the worst fucking ideas.
Yeah.
That don't even necessarily know how life works just because they haven't lived long enough. So I'm like, oh, so that's just a thing.
I think white kids like my age, like our generation, we're like one of the first generation, the first waves of white people who are like, are we the bad guys? All throughout history, like I think we're pretty. Like everyone's been like, I'm a hippie. Like we're cool. We like it. So, there's like a lot of like guilt and pressure to audition. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like performative
Sure.
activism, and I think that Dave Chappelle is probably an easy thing to latch onto in terms of like the rhetoric.
Because how long did the
around
Chappelle
him.
show come out? It has to be going on maybe a good 10, 15, 20 years. So the people growing up now weren't laughing their balls off. Their parents were laughing their balls off at the Chappelle show. These kids right now, he's just some old guy that used to be funny to them, and now he's some preachy old guy on Netflix. They don't give a fuck about his resume. So they're like, boo!
There are a lot of people who just know the Netflix specials, which I happen to think is unfortunate.
Yeah, for sure.
To have that, like, not see Killing Me Softly and the Chappelle show. Because, like, Chappelle show is, like, really early 2000, like 2001? Is that when it started? Like, how early did that start?
That's 21 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm 24, so, I was still shitting my pants until I was, like, 12.
Sure.
Like, so... but I watched the Chappelle show, obviously, but a lot of people my age wouldn't have been. Like,
you were
like
dead
around. Like I
smack
watched
on
it.
the
I had to
tail
watch
end
it a
of
little later.
Sure.
Yeah.
And did you have like funny parents?
Yeah. My dad was a really funny guy. My mom was. My mom's English. She's an immigrant, so she's funny because of that.
Yeah. Oh, so you probably got put on like Monty Python and like Mr.
Monty
Bean
Python,
and shit like that.
Not so much Mr.
Rowan
Bean,
Atkinson.
but
Love that guy.
Fawlty Towers and Blackadder. Do you know Blackadder?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I went to so my pop's in the military, so I actually went. I lived in England for 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, where at?
I was on. We were on Mildenhall Air Force Base.
Okay.
I think it's north.
Okay, yeah, we're from like the southwest.
Of London.
Yeah, and then I got people in Scotland. I want to go to the Fringe Festival.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard about that one.
That's like the biggest comedy festival like in the world in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Shit.
Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about Scotland. I kind of want to go there and check it out. Just I don't know, probably because of Conor McGregor. But I mean,
yeah. You want to fight him? You want to get fun?
I want to incite him to hit me in the head.
Yeah.
And sue him for a Lamborghini speedboat.
Yeah, hang out in Northern Ireland. He'll come. It's a rite of passage.
Basically.
Like, who's this guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck? Yeah. God, I can't do accents. Do you watch much English comedy? Because Stuart Lee, if you know Stuart Lee, my favorite. He's one of my favorite comedians. He's not like super well known, around here because he's an English guy. But do you watch much English
The
stand-up?
Monty Python. I grew up on Monty Python stuff. I grew up on Kids in the Hall. Well, I think Kids in the Hall were Canadian, but like the Monty Python stuff. I was watching Mr. Bean when it was like on TV, like the new episodes and whatnot. Blackadder was coming out.
Yeah.
Bunch of other stuff I probably forgot right now. I think one of the I have to put it in my top 5 funniest things I've ever seen on TV is that part in The Holy Grail where Lancelot is running out of the forest and he's screaming and those guards are on the wall looking at him, and then they cut to the guards and they cut back to him and he's way back where he started running from, and he keeps coming and they cut back and he keeps starting from the same place.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere he just pops up on the guards and just starts stabbing them, kills like 20 people on the way.
Yeah.
Might be one of the funny, but
Oh, that movie's amazing.
no, I generally, I kind of lucked out, just randomly being able to live like a whole bunch of different places and seeing other people's cultures and what they thought was like funny. Because I mean, Japan's idea of comedy back in the 90s.
You live in Japan too?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of times. It'll blow your mind what other people consider funny.
Well, I was talking to, do you know Saku Yanagawa?
Yeah, he did an episode as well.
Yeah. So he's I love him, and he told me about doing stand-up in Japan because there's not a whole lot of people who are good comics who know Japanese and English.
Yeah.
So he told me that in Japan, like when people laugh, like they cover their mouths. So
They have horrible dentistry out there.
yeah. Because they're borrowing English dentists. Because so you can't tell, because like people are trying not to laugh at comedy. Where here, like people are like shitting their pants and throwing it at you. Like
of course,
they're laughing.
if you're killing.
Yeah. And at SketchUp, please come to SketchUp. He'll shit and throw it at you.
Please check it out. Yeah.
But like, so he performed for 45,000 people, and this is how you can tell if you're killing, if they have their hand in front of their face.
Yeah.
So where'd you live in? Were you in like Tokyo? Were you in like a suburb?
I was in Yokota, so that's about an hour and a half away from Tokyo by train. So yeah, me and Saku, that's how we started actually getting cool, because he knew the train station that was closest to the military base that we were on. So like we knew some of the same sites and everything like that. So
Word. Yeah. Okay. When my 6th grade teacher went to China, she said that like in China, like
they're not allowed to laugh.
Well, she told me that
shot in the kneecaps for laughing.
That she's a black lady, so everyone just like wanted to take pictures with her because they'd never seen a black lady. Did that happen at all in Japan?
To a level, yeah, for sure.
Like people would be like, "Wow."
There was one time. At the time, I was dating this. I had a Mexican girlfriend, and we're in her backyard, and her backyard happens to be like right on the gate. Right on one of the fences. So it's like an 8-foot tall fence with barbed wire on it. That's what separates American military base to Japan or whatever, right? And you got some gates that you can go in and out of. But her backyard butted right up. Her backyard went to the fence, and then boom, you're in Japan. And it was me, her, and like a couple of other friends were all out there just kicking it. And the 2 cars drove up with like kids our age, or maybe a little bit older, maybe their early 20s, and they were Japanese nationals, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are cool!" Like we were halfway celebrities, and so we fucking hopped the fence, went with them, and the next thing I know, we're in some room with them. They're playing like hip hop music, recording us like we had a reason to be recorded, and we're just living our lives. So, I mean, to an extent, other things similar to that. I mean, if you want to parlay it into a lady that just, I don't know, chances are you probably could.
Okay.
Yeah, just on the strength of being American. But then you also see like the hate and disappointment in the eyes of anybody that was over 40 years old.
Like
they're just like,
you.
Why are you still in our country, you hunks of garbage?
Yeah. Why do you gotta
I definitely know somebody that got bombed out 60 years ago.
That got unconsensually cremated. My dad's cremated, I can say that. That's such a shitty excuse. I can make fun of war crimes because my dad's dead. I'm really sad. Stuart Little, Wet Harry.
I can fire my Jewish manager because
I burned my fingers so I can make fun of the Holocaust.
I've watched Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
My God, man. Well, Harry, man, let the people know how what you got going on in the city, how they can find you, sir.
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm Harry_VJJ. Those are my initials, cards I was dealt.
Yeah, Vagina Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Vagina Jiu-Jitsu. You want to spar? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm
Chokehold.
I'm so single.
Triangle choke.
Yeah, choke out the pussy. No, I'll be very nice to the pussy.
Tap, snapper, nap.
You can also check out deadparentsclub.rip. That's got my podcast. It's true. It's got my podcast, and we got a virtual grief group. It's sort of like AA because it's free, and I won't tell anyone you're there.
Yeah, shout out Adam. By the way, you said is that the podcast you guys typically do together?
Yeah, and I think I'm just on his podcast, Adam's podcast. The Monday. This is so bad. The deadparentsclub.rip thing. We called it the Monday Morning Podcast because I thought that'd be funny, like morning with a U because you were alone. But now if you just look it up, it's like, did you mean Bill Burr? And I'm like, no, I meant me. I'm me. You know my Google account. And then, yeah, keep your ears tuned and perked for the next Sketch Up.
Sketch Up, phenomenal show. I had a blast, and the acts that you had that weren't just doing not enough. The other people that you had on there doing the sketches, by the way. Hilarious.
Yeah, thank you.
You had a musical guest on there.
Yeah.
Come on, man. And you had me. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I had Mike Knight. It was Mike Knight's Zany's debut, and he crushed it.
Zany's debut.
I
mean, brought to me by the one Harry Jensen, the literally only reason I have him on this show. Otherwise,
inventor of the Michael Hodge sandwich.
It definitely sounds like a disease.
Yeah.
I got Michael Hodges.
Yeah, Michael Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Monkeypox made my immune system weak, and then I contracted Michael
Hodge.
I gotta check my teeth though.
Yeah. Got Michael Hodges. Dude,
my new podcast, Chicago Buyers Club.
I with this guy named Wet Vajayjay. Now I have Michael Hodge.
If you ever have a porn career and your name's not Wet Vajayjay, I'll stab you in the neck.
And that's a promise, America. That's a promise.
Oh, man, I appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah. It was fun,
again,
man.
It's Mike Knight Comedy on all the things. This is a Real Rap Podcast. I love y'all. Peace.
See you guys.
Peace. Mike, man, you straight from the south side. Mike, man. I'm just so happy to be here right now. Real Rap Podcast.